Simcha, a celebration of life.
Hi, and welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm your host, Jared Epstein. In this week's show, we continue our understanding of signs and symbols. We meet paper cut artist Noah Atias, and we explore exponential potential with writer and businessman Dean Furman. Continuing with our series on signs and symbols, Batya Bricker, a lecturer from the Academy of Jewish Thought and Learning, investigates general symbology and Jewish precedents. Both symbols we have chosen for ourselves, as well as those externally imposed. The creation of the Jewish flag, blue and white, and the Magen David, along with all its alternatives.
Symbols can be used as a badge of honor, but similarly they can be used as a badge of shame. And sadly, the Jewish people know about symbols signifying a badge of shame. The Magen David, the Star of David, the six-pointed star, that yellow star that Jews would wear during the Holocaust with Judah in the middle was certainly a badge of shame, but it wasn't the only one. It's the one that's very familiar to us now. In the medieval times, Jews would have to wear a Jewish hat. It was a particular shaped hat that they would wear, which would signify that that was a Jew. In any of the Arab countries, Jews were dhimmi. That would be anybody who does not believe in Allah. So it wouldn't just be Jews, it would be any non-Muslim citizen, would also have to wear something signifying that they were infidels, that they were non-believers. In the Arab countries, sometimes it was a yellow belt. Yellow is often associated with Jewish badges of shame, mainly because from those medieval times, when purple signified royalty, you wanted something on the complete opposite of the spectrum to represent Jews as the bottom of the rung. The Magen David, or the six-pointed star, can be found in many applications. Some of the most interesting places you will find a Magen David, a Star of David, or that shape, should I say. For example, on swords created for the US Army and the British Army, they are proved with a symbol of a six-pointed star that says this blade was made in Damascus, which it no longer is, of course, but that tradition has remained. If you find a six-pointed star outside a tavern in southern Germany, you know that this beer owner has beer on tap. That is what it means, and that he is part of the beer guild. There are other applications, from Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code, to Hindu coins, to Freemasonry, to occultism. So it is very much not a Jewish symbol. How did it become? So the very beginnings of this star being used as a Jewish symbol came from a Karaite document in the 12th century, but it was not called a Magen David. Also to mention that a Magen David, Star of David, is not really the correct translation for Magen David. A Magen David is a shield of David. Magen is a shield, and that is described in Tehillim, in Psalms, which was written by King David. King David was the sweet singer of Israel, and he wrote the majority of the Psalms. And he talks about a Magen, that God will be a Magen. And again we see Ot, the sign, a symbol, as a representation of that God will be with me. It's not a pretty logo that looks cool on a t-shirt. It's a signifier that God is with me, and that's what David was talking about. But that word, and that's where Magen David, the shield of David, comes from. So the symbol was used in Jewish documents, but it wasn't connected to the word Magen David, and that comes late, much later. We also look at the Leningrad Codex, which is from the 10th century, which is the document that we use, the Torah or the Bible, as it is written in ancient Hebrew on our scrolls, is based on the Leningrad Codex, together with the Aleppo Codex, the codex that was found in Aleppo in Syria. Aleppo was the one that Maimonides, Rambam, used when he commentated on the Bible. So any stylized pronunciation, the way it's written, how it's written, the translation of the word, the explanation of the word, the kerning, even the spacing between letters in our Torah, in our Bible, how it's written on its parchment, is taken from the Aleppo Codex, using the Leningrad Codex as its reference. And in the Leningrad Codex, we see the shape of the Magen David on an illuminated manuscript. So that's where we see it for the first time. And only much later does it become a Magen David. Now, most people will know the Magen David from the flag of Israel. How did the star and the blue stripe land up on the Israeli flag? So the original design by Herzl had the Star of David there. It represented the 6 days of the week. Remember, he was a socialist, so it represented 6 days of the week with Shabbat, the Sabbath, if you wanted to, in the middle. The socialists certainly wouldn't have bought into that ideology, but that's how it first landed up there. And it was used at the first Zionist Congress in 1897, and slowly it took on. It was used first by Rishon LeZion, the kibbutz, took it on as a badge to represent the kibbutz, and then it became used by the Zionist National Congress, and later was used in 1904. There was an expo in Louisiana, and it was used officially as a flag representing the new Israel, or this group of people in Rishon LeZion, and so it became the de facto Israeli flag. The source of the blue and white in the flag comes from the talit, the prayer shawl that Jewish men would wear, and often that had a blue stripe. It was continuously white with blue stripes at the end, and so it was a reminder of that talit. Again, an ot, a spiritual connection to God.
American-born Noah Atias is a well-known Judaica paper cut artist who has developed a new and unique style of paper cuts that is specific to her. Noah has turned her paper cuts into applied art so that they can decorate the Jewish home by combining blessings and symbols that are based on and inspired from Jewish life and religion. Don't worry, I'm not talking about those painful paper cuts. Just watch.
I'm an artist, and I've always loved art. And my parents sent me to art classes as a child. I remember in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th, I was always in art classes after school. My favorite class in school was also art. And when I was in 6th grade, I knew I wanted to be a graphic designer. Before I even knew what that meant, I knew I wanted to do graphic design. And I really went to learn graphic design in Emunah College in Jerusalem. And at the end of the year, we had a project. We had to do something with calligraphy, and I decided to do a ketubah. A ketubah is basically, it's wedding vows that we have in the Jewish world, that under the chuppah, when the couple gets married, so there's a document that the husband and the wife are bonding together. So often when people get married, they want to have a special ketubah. And that's what I decided to do then. It was around 20 years ago. And since then, I've been doing paper cuts. So I've been doing paper cuts now for around 8 years. This is my business. I started from something small, and it's become something very big. So what I love about paper cuts is that I first have the paper, And it's a blank piece of paper, and basically once I start cutting out slowly, then we see the picture come out, and that's amazing. I also sometimes when I do a paper cut, so I don't take out all the pieces I cut off, I wait until the end, and then everything comes out of one big paper cut. It's just to see suddenly something come out of nothing, and especially that what's nice about the paper cuts is that what's missing. A lot of the paper cut is a paper, and the missing part is what makes a picture. So that's the special thing about paper cuts. Also, what I do with my paper cuts is I usually have them, there's a matting between the paper and the background. So you can also see the 3D in it. So that also gives it a bit of something interesting. It's different. There's a lot of paper cuts that you see, they're glued straight on the background. What I do is, so I put a matting between the paper cut and the background, and then you get a shadow between them. And that's also interesting. You can see really the paper cut, and you see the shadows and the lights that go from the room into the paper cut. That makes it really special. So I made my own challah board. And a friend of mine saw it and she loved it, and then I decided to I'll try and sell them. And I went over to the galleries, and they loved them, and the galleries bought them. And since then I've sold hundreds of challah boards. And what happened was once I saw I was selling the challah boards, I decided I'm going to start doing other things, the home blessings and all the rest of the Jewish what's around us in the Jewish world. And that's just how I continued on with the paper cuts. It was basically this challah board, the first challah board, my challah board, that just showed me that it's gonna work. And that's what happened. I just started with them selling after that. So something that I do have that also I feel that people are enjoying with the challah boards, and also I have a small Kiddush cup set that people use for the Shabbos meal that you can give out my Kiddush cup set. So there's 6 cups to it, so it's small shot glasses, and so you can give it to each child. They can have their own cup of wine. They enjoy that. But what's special about the challah boards is that basically you can see the tablecloth underneath. That makes it a whole piece of art with your Shabbos table. So I have that also with my Kiddush cup set that's also a paper cut, and with the challah boards. And hopefully I want to make some more things for the Shabbos table. I do put in a lot of Jewish themes inside my paper cuts. It's very important for me. That's where I come from. That's my Jewish world. That's what I believe. That's basically what I work with. I also work a lot with the Jewish themes as a home blessing. I do the Woman of Valor. I do the Ketubot that I said. Everything by me is really Judaica. So that's why I try putting in a lot of Jewish themes. I think that also you can tell me between the other ones, I have very small and intricate paper cuts. The designs are very, very small. You can find them with other artists too, but I have my own small themes, and I try to, again, I put inside all the 7 species inside, and the Jerusalem. I do try and have everything small. I think that's what makes it very interesting to see with the paper cut. Swirls for me mean the Judaism and religious and everything, my whole world, what I live by. And all these swirls, that's how I am in my life. All of us have ups and downs, and looking here and looking there, and the world is around us, and especially me that I work in art. So the art world is so tough today. And some of the artists are really tough artists. And by me, it's everything's gentle. And I try to go between everything, and really between also Judaism, the religious world. And so we're trying to work around everything and work with everything. Everything's like a big circle in life. That's how I feel it is. I'm always trying to combine everything and go around and try to make it, even if I see something that's not so Jewish, I try to think how I could make it Jewish. It's by turning everything around, twisting things around. That's what I feel. I really feel it's a gift from God, and I really thank God for it. It's amazing. It's something that I always say, I just don't take it for granted that I have such a gift. And that's why also, even in my hard days that I had, I was always, but God gave me such a big gift. Why isn't this working? My husband always says it's just like the Japanese plant that only after 7 years, it blooms. And I totally feel that's what happened with my business. I had the 7 hard years in the beginning, and now, thank God, I even started hiring someone that's helping me because I'm working on orders all the time, and I'm blooming. This is my time now that I'm blooming, and I feel that this is really God is giving me now. This is the blessing from God for me. Well, I believe in God, and I really feel Him every day. In my job, because this is my own business, it's not easy. It wasn't easy in the beginning. And there was a lot of, I really prayed a lot. It was a lot of praying. I used to go and daven by Kever Rachel with my husband, I remember. And it took time for me to believe that this is really something that's going to happen. And now, first of all, I'm so grateful to God that I wake up in the morning and I'm happy to start working. I don't know how many people wake up in the morning and enjoy going to work. I wake up and I'm really, really excited to start working. And then at night, I put the kids to sleep around 8:30, and I go back to work happy. I'm enjoying, I work until 12 o'clock at night with no problem. I really enjoy work. And I really always thank God thank God I'm in the right place for me, and I'm working is something that I enjoy doing. Not something that I have to do because I have to bring a salary home. It's something this is my life, this is me.
See, paper cuts aren't always a bad thing. Next, we meet Dean Furman, who in writing his book, Exponential Potential, wanted to focus on the flip side of rapid technological developments. Dean believes that there are more opportunities to succeed than ever before for those that are truly plugged into the new world. As a religious man, Dean believes in divine providence and that God has an important role to play in one's life and success.
I call my book Exponential Potential because I very much feel that in this day and age, the possibilities are endless. One thing is for sure that technology will take jobs away from a lot of people. But on the flip side, if you plug into the right way of thinking and you get ahead of that learning curve to be able to completely discover new things that most people won't know, the potential for you to grow your own business and your own career is unlimited and can grow exponentially. And as soon as you've caught that bug of plugging yourself into the world and discovering new things on a complete time and applying it to your own life, your own career, and your own business, the possibilities are endless. I specialize in innovation, so helping companies of all different sizes grow their company using new technologies, new methods, and just creative thinking. So one of the problems that many companies have is that it's very, very tough to stay up to date with the latest and greatest ways to do things. And then you become very narrow-minded in terms of trying to create new solutions. So then the companies come and they say, let's innovate and create different things. But the inputs, which is the learning that they've needed to have, isn't there. So the output, which is the innovations and the new strategies, are completely lacking. And the thing is, it's very understandable why that's the case, because for a lot of companies, and for a lot of people inside those companies, you have deadlines and you have daily priorities and you're just trying to get the work done that you've got on your plate, and you're not really carving out time each day to learn in the way that you need to learn. So Randall Stevenson, he's the CEO of AT&T, a huge telecommunications company in the States, said that if you're not learning 5 to 10 hours a week online and discovering new things, you're going to become irrelevant and obsolete. So very much along the lines with that thinking is that people have really not taken the time to do that learning that they need to do. And in the past, maybe you can get away with not doing that, but now things are changing so quickly that you become very irrelevant. And if not irrelevant, you become a little bit more mediocre and not be able to unleash the potential that you have because you're not putting that input of learning into your daily life. My Jewish faith has played a really strong role in making me, an inquisitive person, a person who wants to discover new ways of doing things, look at things analytically and question things around there, because that's a big part of innovation. The problem is that when you don't question things around you, whether they're valid or they're not valid, then you just do things according to the status quo. But as soon as you start interrogating and asking questions and asking challenging questions about things that exist, that's when real innovation and growth starts to happen. And that's very fundamental. If you look at any Jewish learning, it's all about questioning it to promote new depths in understanding and new ways of looking at different problems. Self-belief is a hugely important part of creating the best possible career for yourself and growing your company as well as you can, and also growing yourself as well as you possibly can. The thing that I've found, which is very interesting, is that often the most talented people and the most to give often have the most self-doubt and often question themselves the most. And the truth is that you have to realize that we're all human and we all have pitfalls, but don't focus on that. And you focus on the positives and completely drive and push yourself every day to give more to others, because when you're giving more, that's when you end up seeing the benefit come back to you, be it from money or from satisfaction in your own career or anything that you want to come and achieve in your life. I'm hoping when people read my book, Exponential Potential, that they will really have a new mindset and understand just how easy it is to acquire new skills in today's age, and just how easy it is to use new technologies that can help you in things that you do on your everyday. A lot of people get scared at the beginning. They think, oh, okay, they hear the word technology or new platforms or anything that sounds like you need to be this big tech developer to do. These days, everything is so easy. There's so many do-it-yourself tools that can drastically transform the way you do things. You just have to understand that they exist and overcome your fear of actually using them. And I'm just hoping that, one, people will understand that you can achieve more than ever before in today's age. And another thing that I'm hoping that they realize is just where to look for certain things, and to realize that it's simple. It really is simple today to achieve things that in the past you needed to be a real expert to do. Truthfully, Hashem is the one that looks after how much income we get and not. And we have to do our own work to work as much as we can. And we can't just lie in bed and think Hashem will provide. That's a dangerous theory. But we have to still work with the conscious belief that in the end, it's not my work that's achieving any success that I do. Hashem will decide I should be successful. Hashem will decide I shouldn't be successful. And that very much has driven me to be a bit calmer in terms of what I do, and not to think too much about what if this happens, what if that happens, I need to get this deal in, I don't need to get this deal in. Very much believing Hashem will look after that. I have to believe in what I'm doing the right thing, have a good strategy, but that will come in time.
Well, that's all we have for this week's episode of Simcha, a celebration of life. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so go on and say hi to us on Facebook. From me, Jared Epstein, and the Simcha team, may you have a blessed week ahead.